Hey guys, what's going on? So today I have an album review for BRODEQUIN's Festival of Death. So yeah, background, we're listening to Corvant's Abnormal Exaggeration. Really damn good slam album. I've had to review for this sometime. So I reviewed Instruments of Torture last time, so now obviously I'm doing Festival of Death. This might be my favorite BRODEQUIN album. I can't choose between this and their last album, Methods of Execution, which I'll review next. This is where they really found that like chaotic, super nasty, super noisy sound. I mean, they had it on Instruments of Torture, but they took it a lot further in this album. I'd say it's a little bit more primal and just like barbaric. Not to say that Instruments of Torture isn't at all, but I'd say this one is a lot more insane. So, you know, cool album cover, more medieval type of artwork. Sped up through Unmatched Brutality. I'm not sure what year this pressing is from, but there's the side text, Festival of Death, the album title. Just the back. You got 11 songs on here, but it says there's a typo. Track 11 is numbered track 12. I mean, there's also a hidden track on here I don't know the name of. So yeah, there's the disc. It's missing a couple little teeth, but it's fine. Pretty sure the booklet is just lyrics. Lyrics are business as usual for BRODEQUIN, you know, medieval torture theme. I think it's pretty unique lyrical theme for sure. So the main thing that sets this album apart from Instruments of Torture and really the rest of their discography is that this one is a lot less flat sounding. Instruments of Torture, it was very scooped and it had like a very juicy, kind of muddy sound. Well, this one I'd say it's still very raw. It's actually probably even more raw. But it's a little bit more organic sounding, especially the drums. This album has an extremely cranked snare. Like, if you're one of those normies who jokes about the Saint Anger snare, you'll fucking hate this. I mean, the snare in there, I love it, and it's so just like noisy and intense, but it's obviously not for everybody. If you're just a casual death metal fan, you probably will not like this album. It's a very acquired taste for sure. But this album is just this whirlwind of intensity. This is a really grindy album. There's still some of that groove that was on Instruments of Torture, but not quite as much. The vocals are pretty much the same, although I'd say the vocals on this album are a little bit more memorable. They take a little bit... BRODEQUIN's vocals are always kind of backgroundy, but on here they take the forefront just a little bit more than on Instruments of Torture. The guitars, they're still very scooped and juicy, but not quite as loud in the mix. The bass is pretty much still inaudible. A lot of the songs on here are they're memorable. I'd say especially the first probably 5 songs. Mazzatello is probably like one of the best songs on here. I mean, when you hear that song, you instantly know what this record's gonna be like. It's just ridiculous. You know, even more blast beats. They're even faster than on Instruments of Torture. A little bit of groovy sections, but they're not like obnoxiously groovy, but just little catchy things to break up the intensity here. Or not intensity, but to break up the speed and velocity. Judas Cradle, another one of the best songs in here. You got this almost kind of gallopy kind of groove riff. One part of that track, I really like that one. Trial by Ordeal, Bivum Excoriari, that's another really great one. There's some really groovy stuff going on in that one. But overall, really blast beaty, fast album. This is like but almost as extreme as, I wouldn't say this is as extreme as brutal death metal can get, but it's pretty damn close. I mean, you have ridiculous bands like Enmity or Masturbation where it's like borderline fucking noise, where it's like the most ridiculously cranked snare or like unfollowable technicality. Not like Rings of Saturn type technicality with like sweeps, like brutal death metal type technicality where it's just really confusing and hard to follow. You know, ridiculously like really gurgly vocals. I think the main thing that sets this album apart from going into that realm, which is like the final frontier of brutal death metal, is really the vocals, because the vocals aren't that weird. They're just inhale lows, like I said, similar to like the vocals on like Defeated Sanity, Psalms of the Moribund, like that. I can't think of very much else to say. The BRODEQUIN, their albums are kind of difficult to review because they're all pretty much the same experience, just different production and a little more intense. This one is definitely the most raw for sure. This is one of the most popular as well, and this one just has this amazing wall of sound. And it's a unique wall of sound for brutal death metal because it's not as scooped or juicy sounding. It's a lot more organic sounding. Production-wise, this doesn't sound like a Disgorge or Deeds of Flesh album, like how Instruments of Torture sounded. This one is a lot more, it's a lot more 3D sounding, a lot more organic. I mean, the snare is just ridiculous on here. So energetic and fast. The guitars, while they're not as loud in the mix, they do create like this wall of sound the way they're produced. It sounds like there's a good bit of reverb on the guitars. Like I said, bass is inaudible. I can't think of very much else to say. This is really a flawless album. I can't think of anything wrong with it, really. There's a really catchy, grindy hidden track called, I don't know why I said called. It's, I don't know the name of it, but it's only like 2 minutes after the last song, which is weird. Usually hidden tracks are like fucking like 10-20 minutes after the last song. But, yeah, I mean, this is the type of album where you don't listen to for individual songs, really, but there are some memorable moments, like I said, in songs like Judas Cradle or Vivimex Scoriari. I'd probably give this album a solid 9 out of 10. You know, it's just a really fun, brutal album to listen to if you want something absolutely ridiculous. If you want a crazy wall of sound that's super fast. But it's a little more organic sounding and a little more natural in a way sounding than like something as digital sounding as like, you know, like I said, Disgorge, Defeated Sanity, Deeds of Flesh. This album has a little bit more of a, it's nasty, but in a more 3D type of way production wise. I don't know, the guitar tone here is also a lot warmer than on the other albums. It's a lot less sharp as opposed to both Methods of Execution and Instruments of Torture, which is probably why it doesn't take the forefront quite as much, but overall, this is just a really solid album though. Definitely a 9 out of 10, probably my favorite, but Methods of Execution is really close, so it's kind of tied between those two. I'll make a video ranking all their albums when I'm done reviewing their discography, I suppose. But yeah, if you like ridiculously heavy, ridiculously brutal for the sake of it type of shit, then you will really love this album. If you do not like super fast, ridiculously cranked snare, super guttural vocals, raw type of shit, then this is definitely not for you, and stay away from this album like the plague. It will bite you. It's just so ridiculous. Yeah, I highly recommend this album if you like ridiculous shit. I mean, this is probably their most popular album. Actually, I don't know why I said that. This and Instruments of Torture are their most popular albums. No one talks about Methods of Execution as much. Which I don't know why, because that's such a fucking good album. But, yeah. BRODEQUIN's Festival of Death. This is a 9 out of 10. I wouldn't say it's among my favorite brutal death metal albums, but probably top 20, I'd say. So, yeah. That's it for this video, though. Just a quick little review. Can't think of very much else to say for that album. You know, it's just a simple joy. But anyways, that's it for this video. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.